Alright, y'all. This is going to be a heavy video, and it's nighttime. The lighting is shitty, as you can see. So I'm going to use some kind of avatar. I'm just not sure what yet. Alright, this is the one I decided on. Let's talk about Woody Allen. What is up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints, you brilliant, godless bastards? Welcome back to The Rage. I am the Raging Atheist, and one of my main focuses now is to get back to the issues that I want to talk about, the issues that I want to tackle. And one of those issues is how men see themselves, how men behave in society, what is acceptable for men and what isn't. Because I think sometimes we fucking forget that. And in this video, I'm going to be talking specifically about Woody Allen. Woody Allen is considered one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. He's considered a genius. And I have to ask why. Because when I look at his films, most of them are propagating this propaganda that it's perfectly fine for older men to date much younger women. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest that I was caught up in this propaganda. I was caught up in this. Like age isn't a thing, but it is. And I often gave the excuse that, as I get more leftist, as I get more liberal, as I get more to be a free thinker, well, women my age, they don't necessarily want to have anything to do with me. And that's not untrue. It really isn't. That's been my experience. But I had this rule, because, I seem to attract younger women. And I had this rule. My rule was 26. And the older I got, that age never went up. It stayed 26. And, as I've grown and as I've become aware of this situation, I've come to the conclusion that that is not cool. That's not fine. And for the last, year, I haven't dated at all. If I attract a younger woman, I don't act on it. I distance myself. I get away. I have become a hermit. I don't have a social life. And, just because I don't seem to attract women my own age doesn't mean I should take advantage of the women I do attract. Because I've come to terms with the fact that I've been on this earth a lot longer. I've experienced more things. And when it comes to life affairs, I have much more experience and more knowledge that I can draw from. That would mean I am taking advantage of somebody that doesn't have that experience or knowledge. So, in full clarity here, I want to say that I am one of the victims of this propaganda put out there. And I'm calling it for what it is now. It is propaganda, because as we age, we should become more responsible. Not run away from that responsibility or make excuses for it. So that's going to lead us into Woody Allen. Now, Woody Allen is a very disturbed man. And I became aware of this story as it was happening because, I was on the earth as it was happening and I wasn't blind to it. But like most people, I allowed time to take away my outrage. Well, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that Woody Allen is seriously accused of sexually molesting one of his own daughters. And Woody Allen married a little girl that grew up with him as a father figure. A very complicated story that's being drawn out rather well on HBO in the Allen versus Farrow docuseries. Doing a good job. Now, I'm not the type that usually will just go with the docuseries, but when it comes to this is an issue that I am passionate about. Now, I've even used Woody Allen in a video to make a point, because the dude is a good filmmaker. But when you're an atrocious human being, that should far outweigh everything else. And when I mean atrocious human being, I mean somebody that will take advantage of the innocent, the most innocent, somebody that would take advantage of children.
I want to show my face and tell my story. I want to speak out, literally.
Meet the daughter of Woody Allen, Dylan Farrow, who was adopted by Mia Farrow and Woody Allen. Originally by Mia Farrow alone, but in a relationship with Woody Allen at the time. Now, Woody Allen raised Dylan Farrow as his daughter from the very beginning. Also, another child of Mia's, but I'm not going to talk so much about him, because I think he's another victim here, and a victim still, a victim fresh, a victim in the modern day. So I'm not going to talk about him so much today. But I want to talk about this situation, because this situation hits home for me. This situation is something that I see in society on a daily basis. And that is, men do atrocious things, they make justifications for it, give it enough time, and then they come back as if nothing ever happened. And that's exactly what happened with Woody Allen. Woody Allen did an atrocious thing. That atrocious thing was falling in love, eventually marrying a girl he had raised from a very young age. That alone, to me, is enough to condemn this man. That alone, to me, is enough for this man's fortunes to be gone, to not be anything propelled by society. But that didn't happen. Because when that scandal broke, and the scandal that we're going to be talking about today, they broke at the same time, Woody Allen just went away for a little while. Long enough that when he returned, well, his comeback was reverberated through Hollywood as some great thing, that this brilliant filmmaker has returned from obscurity, and he did, and his fortunes have continued to escalate. Woody Allen has continued to be a name that people know. Not the Woody Allen that is real, not the Woody Allen that is a monster, but the Woody Allen that brings movies to your TV screen. And that's what's important in our society is, well, those movies, and not the children.
I loved my father. I respected him. He was my hero. And that doesn't obviously take away from what he did, but it does make the betrayal and the hurt that much more intense.
Can you imagine what it must take for a daughter to come out against her father? And not just any father, we're talking Woody fucking Allen. Could you imagine what it would take? Now, as a little girl, the presence that would be required, like, she just knew, like, daddy did something wrong. But here she is as an adult and still maintaining to this story that daddy did wrong. All these years later. And it's being portrayed brilliantly on HBO. If you guys have not watched this series, trigger warning, like when I watched it, I got enraged. But I got more enraged at myself. Because though I've never been a big Woody Allen fan, I'm not somebody that will go see his movie in the theaters. I am somebody that since I remember that happening, I put it on the back burner, and I did watch some of his movies. I did forget. I did ignore. And it's really time for men in our society to stop doing that.
I was taken to a small attic crawl space in my mother's country house in Connecticut by my father. He instructed me to lay down on my stomach and play with my brother's toy train that was set up. And he sat behind me in the doorway. And as I played with the toy train, I was sexually assaulted.
A 6-year-old little girl who had already shown signs that the intense affections of her father was causing mental disturbances. Again, go watch the HBO docuseries. And there's two sides to every story. But, you know, honestly, fuck a pedophile's side. Honestly. Especially a pedophile that's going to do that to his own daughter. I'm just saying it. Woody Allen, come at me. I will lose gladly to have a chance to call you a fucking pedophile in court. And for all clarification's sake, Dylan was adopted. Dylan wasn't Woody Allen's biological daughter. And Woody Allen wouldn't actually adopt her until about a year before this situation occurred, when she was like around 5 years old. But he was that father figure. He was that father in her life since she was a baby. He was a father to her. And just like, you know, his current wife, Sun Yi, who was adopted in a previous marriage, right before that marriage broke up, about a year before that marriage broke up. Well, Woody Allen stepped in as Mia's boyfriend and stepped into that role from a very young age, when Sun Yi was still a child. Which is important as we go on. This is going to be a long video, y'all. But here we have a young girl raised by Woody Allen, who at 6 years old said what happened to her, and who now as an adult in her 30s is saying what happened to her. And Woody Allen is still making fucking movies. Woody Allen is still on the streets. Woody Allen has faced no repercussions for this at all.
As a 7-year-old, I would have said he touched my private parts.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which I did say.
All right.
As a 32-year-old, he touched my labia and my vulva with his finger.
You know, as a father hearing that, it makes me sick. No father should touch his daughter at any age in those areas. Nobody should touch a child, no matter what, in those areas, unless you're like a doctor doing a medical procedure that's necessary. And the fact that she's still sticking to her story as an adult, you know, Woody Allen did that age-old defense. Well, you know, the mother's coaxing her. And that flew just enough for him to dip out of the limelight long enough for him to come back, and, you know, a lot of people forgot about that shit. This was his daughter, who is still, all these years later, saying these things. And this man is still making his movies, living in the lap of luxury, getting the respect of his peers. And I have to ask why, if not for our society allowing it.
Being made public for the first time are 2 days worth of videos recorded by Mia of Dylan after the alleged assault. Searing told THR that the videos of Dylan, which had been rumored to exist since the custody battle, quote, have been chased forever by a lot of people.
And that's the truth of it. Again, if you haven't watched the HBO docuseries, go watch it. Because for about 30 years now, people have been after these supposed tapes of 6-year-old Dylan Farrow telling what her dad did to her. And all these years later, brave adult Dylan Farrow released those tapes. And Mia Farrow as well. And those tapes are damning. You hear 6-year-old Dylan saying exactly what adult Dylan is still saying to this day. And not only that, you hear phone calls between Mia and Woody. Y'all, Woody Allen does not deserve your praise. Woody Allen does not deserve your worship. Woody Allen is nothing to put on a pedestal. Woody Allen is one of the worst of us. It's time to start treating him that way.
I decided to let them share it in the hopes that little Dylan's voice might now help others suffering in silence feel heard, understood, and less alone. She added, "I hope this tape helps us all find ways to allow painful secrets to come safely out their closets so we can all heal and move forward in strength and peace. No longer ashamed, buried, scared, sad, and silent."
Now, that was a tweet from Dylan Farrow asking for compassion as the second episode of that docuseries comes out and a lot of this new information is revealed. There's 2 more episodes. I'm telling you, I'm going to be watching them even though they make me mad as hell. But that was Dylan speaking to people, asking for compassion, and I guarantee you, on the internet, she's not going to find a lot of compassion there. The internet's a problem that we are going to have to deal with. But you know, men are going to make their fucking excuses. Men are going to say, well, that hasn't been proven yet. Men are going to say, Mia very well could have coaxed her daughter, and all these years later, her daughter's just fucking brainwashed that her adult truth doesn't fucking matter. Men will say what men will say. But we cannot forget in this situation, and the docuseries lays it out plainly, is that Soon-Yi was a teenager when we know for a fact Woody Allen was having sex with her. Woody Allen was a 40-year-old man and this was an 18, 19-year-old girl, and we know for a fact that they were having sex. Now, there are implications that happened a lot sooner. So the story is, and the story that the Farrows have maintained since the beginning is, Mia Farrow went to Woody Allen's apartment and found photographs of Soon-Yi, a freshman in college, 18 or 19 years old. Very explicit photographs in Woody Allen's apartment of her genitalia. We're talking hustler photographs, not Playboy photographs. That led to a rift. That led to a feud. That led to custody hearings, and during those custody hearings, when Woody Allen had legitimate parental rights to visit his daughter, Dylan, that this assault occurred, allegedly. It's never been proven because our society sucks. Soon-Yi was a teenager. Soon-Yi was a little girl when Woody Allen came into her life as that parental role affixed to her mother. Soon-Yi was a troubled child, adopted later, and by all appearances, Woody Allen groomed her. And to this very day, they are still married. To this very day, it has split apart that family. Because Woody Allen is rich. Woody Allen is basically untouchable. Not like the rest of us. He is in that special class. Well, my friends, I'm telling you, there is no special class. And he needs to pay.
The second installment of Allen vs. Farrow also featured never-before-heard phone calls between Mia and then-partner Allen, discussing his relationship with her adopted daughter, Suni Previn, who is now his wife of 23 years.
This is a tragic story. This is a story that will enrage any normal human being with any sense of decency. But you have to pay attention. You have to care. You have to care about Dylan's trauma. You have to care that Woody Allen isn't special. And you have to get over this society thing that allows you to forget. And we're seeing that play out right now in our community. I don't have to say any names. People making excuses, people justifying. But I tell you, my friends, our first priority should be to protect the children. All the children. Our second priority should be not to forget these atrocities. Not to allow these people to come back. You don't get to prey on our innocence. Because our innocence, those innocents that we rear, those innocents that we love, they are more important than you are. And society needs to start fucking realizing that. As always, I'm your boy Nakasuchi. I am the Raging Atheist. I want to send that shout out to my patrons. You guys are the shit. I love you. Thank you for your continued support in these really hard times for me. Raging Atheist is getting back to what he cares about, y'all. And that is making the stand. That is standing against what I see wrong in society. Woody Allen is no hero. No pedophile is. And this will be one of my new focuses. This male culture that will so easily forget. That will so easily wish to not be held accountable. Must be held accountable.